Okay, so back to part four of like my midnight sun rant and like why I got fired or how I left and like all the toxic shit that happened while I was there. But going back to what I was saying, none of the changes were anything that were difficult for me to execute. They were dumb, they were really controlling, and they were really obnoxious, maybe, but nothing that was out of reason, especially because, again, I really liked what I did, so I didn't really have much reason to fight it or to try and stir the pot, especially because I kind of felt, especially because, I mean, I've had these interactions with them multiple times that were just a little bit off. I just didn't want to even have the potential for it, so I just let it be. If you were to look at any of the text messages that I sent to them at any given point in time, it was always very professional, always very kind. I was always expressing my gratitude. Even when I was dealing with frustrating aspects of them, I was always like, thank you for the work you do. I know you do a lot. I know you're trying to do this. I know you're doing that. I know you're executing this. I know you do so much. And again, I have text message receipts for any single thing that I'm saying. So I am never a couple things. I will talk the shit because I can back it up. And it's not talking shit. I'm literally I'm speaking about what happened. So I have no reason to distort, lie, or kind of like manipulate the truth because if anything, I have pictures that will speak for themselves. But back to my main point. So long story short, I end up going to work the first day after the changes were texted to us, right? And oh yeah, sorry. A couple of the other things were I'm not allowed to meet any of the clients that I have from Midnight Sun outside of Midnight Sun, which is like technically none of your business. And then they also have a no complete clause, which is illegal in Florida. They literally posted a law that outdated that, where I'm not allowed to work for any competition, like any other tarot readers or anything like that, because they wanted to pretty much, again, very controlling. But again, I go back to work the next day after the message has been sent out. And the first thing I do is pretty much ask, like, okay, are we doing these changes? Blah, 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 blah. I got the text message. I was made aware of what's happening. Are we doing this? I asked that to I think the store manager or the assistant store manager was Gabriella at the time. And she was like, she's like, give me a second. I'll go ask Stella, which is the person between her and Catherine, the ones who made the list of the changes to begin with. They're the ones who are kind of like implementing and overseeing that shit to begin with. So long story short, she gets back to me and tells me, like, Stella said, yeah, we don't have like what we need to do the changes, so just go about business as normal, just go about like how you've been normally doing it. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. Do my day, work perfectly fine, go home, come back. I think it was like 2 days later I worked was my next shift. And then long story short, from the time that I got there, I pretty much I think I had 2 readings before I ended up getting fired. I got those 2 readings from the front desk, so it wasn't even a matter of me having to have them sign up from the front desk. They sent them to me from where I was standing in the back. So they did whatever they had to do through the front desk. When I walked in, I said hello to Stella, so it wasn't a matter of me not greeting anybody. I will say I was maybe like 4-5 minutes late, but again, in the year that I've been there, there's never been any. I think maybe one time. I will acknowledge that there's been one time that a customer had to come back, and it was only they were only there like maybe 5 minutes. That they came back because I wasn't there on time, which I apologize. But again, that was because I wasn't there like early, not because I wasn't there on time. And then they came back, got a reading, and they didn't really care. They were perfectly content with the reading and very happy. And funny enough, they're actually somebody I did a reading for in the past at the mall, and I ran into them here. So it was a reunion. So there's nothing that I did that impacted that business in a negative way. The only thing I, in theory, would have done would have benefited it because I paid them, and then on top of it, I'm providing an extra service. And a service at that pretty much I had nothing but consistently positive interactions and reviews with the clients and the customers that I interacted with. So I do my 2 readings, and then literally after my second reading, and mind you, I'm like quite literally, I love what I do. I keep on saying this because tarot came to me unexpectedly, and it's something that I didn't really expect to do, much less for me to fall in love with it to the depth that I did, and it's something that I'm genuinely passionate about. This and metaphysical things in general, but I digress. But literally had a really good session. I was like beaming ear to ear, really connected with somebody, really got messages that, resonated with them. I was feeling really like tapped in. I was feeling like really connected. And literally as I'm walking from the front to the back with a smile on my face, just chilling, I get told by Stella, clock out. And then I'm like, what? Well, not clock out, but she says, oh, I'm sending you home for the day. And I'm just like, immediately, I just knew like something's off because for what reason? Like for what literal reason? I've never had again, I show up, I do readings for these people and then I go home. There is no aspect of me intertwining with these people for any way, shape, and form. And there is no aspect of my being that has to do with the functions of this job. So, long story short, I tried to simply ask her because it was a shock to me. I didn't know I was being sent home. I literally just got out of a reading that was perfectly fine. And she's like, oh, I can't talk about this right now. I can't talk about this right now. And she kind of like stormed in the back. So I tried figuring out for a little while. And then, long story short, after I get in contact with Catherine, after I called her like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, however many times I called her, because I mean, I'm freaking out. This is my only job. This is my only source of income. And, they made that they're very adamant on making sure about that, which not like they would have known if I had gotten another job, but point being was this is my only source of income. To have lost it suddenly, so I was freaking out a little bit, and I didn't lose my cool. I wasn't rude. I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't even angry. I was kind of just like really scared and kind of like I was literally shaking because it was scary. You know what I mean? Like from my perspective, everything was perfectly fine. I just got done with the reading. I've been here and there's been no negative interactions that would have warranted me to believe that my livelihood, my job, my source of income would have been in danger in any way, shape, and form. Because again, I just didn't believe that at all. Right? There's just nothing that led me to believe that. So this being dropped on me, literally I think it was an hour or so into my shift, out of nowhere, kind of caught me off guard. You know what I mean? Like, I'm losing my source of income. So I'm calling Catherine and I'm trying to speak to her. And she's like, yeah, it's because you didn't follow protocol and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but literally the last time that I asked about protocol, which was like a day, like I think it was 2 days ago, you guys said we're not doing it. The last time I worked, which was 2 days ago, they said that we're not doing it. Much less today, where there was not any protocol for me not to follow because there wasn't any space for me not to follow anything at that point. I kind of just came in and again, I literally come in and I do readings. There's not even much room. Like, what protocol is there realistically, right? Like, there's no need for them to even have protocol, much less a hand in what I'm doing, much less room for me to then have broken it within the hour that I've been there doing the readings. So she's like, yeah, no, well, you weren't following protocol, you weren't following the rules, and for that, we're gonna have to let you go. It's just not gonna work out. We're sorry. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, I was like, I think there's a misunderstanding. Like, my first thing is, okay, let me be rational or try to be rational. I'm like, I think there's a misunderstanding. There wasn't anything that I did not do. There was not any rule that I broke. There wasn't anything that I was not doing according to whatever was being asked of me. And it was just pretty much dismissed. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work out. And as I was like, okay, Catherine, do you mind giving me just 1 second? I'm like, let me speak to Gabriella, because she was there as pretty much everything unfolded, and she was the manager that I asked last time about these new rules to be implemented. So when I was trying to explain to Gabriella, in the middle of me explaining, I saw Catherine on the phone. She's like, Denzel, I'm going to need you to leave the property. So it's like, that is how you're treating me? Like, that is what you're going to do to me? So at that point, I'm thinking, well, by the way she said it, I didn't want to have to deal with trying to potentially be trespassed or dealing with any legal issues or anything like that. I just collected my things and I left. I said bye to the people that were there. I was still a little shaken up, a little bit frustrated. I wasn't yelling at anybody. I wasn't shouting. I was just a little bit like in shock a little bit. And some people were like, oh, I'll see you later. I'm like, no, you won't, because I'm fired. So it is what it is. That was pretty much the extent of me showing any form of, I guess, heightened emotion. Just that little slight tinge of just, okay, whatever. Like, I can't really control it. And I wasn't like, oh, whatever. And I was just like, I'm not going to see you. So it is what it is. And I just like walked off and let it be. And I think what really, really, really hurt on top of that was when I tried to reach out to numerous different managers. Because there's only 2 people who really had a heavy hand in Midnight Sun and their ability to kind of like do what they did, which is Catherine and Stella. And I tried reaching out to some of the lesser managers, or I guess like I wouldn't say less, I don't know how to properly word it, the managers that I guess don't have as much power in the situation. And nobody responded. I reached out like twice to a couple people, absolutely nothing. I reached out to another manager on Instagram, absolutely nothing. I reached out to the owner through text and through email. I got a short response, pretty much saying that she will maybe see what happened and she wasn't too sure what did. And then after I tried following up, dead silence. So it was kind of shitty, really shitty to say the least. So here's part 5 about the story about Midnight Sun and how I ended up getting fired or left or whatever you want to call it. But so yeah, long story short, I didn't expect this to happen, much less for when I tried to reach out to people who I had nothing but positive interactions with. Like I can't say there is a negative emotion felt towards the other managers that I had spoken to or reached out to that we have ever had like a negative conversation or disagreement or any kind of, negative interaction, much less for when I'm trying to reach out about something like this for there to be just no response at all. To be honest, it was quite the opposite. These interactions that I had with these people were actually what I felt to be a little bit past, just surface level. We spoke about, commonalities within our spiritual journey, aspects of ourselves, it wasn't something that I would have thought would have been. And while I understand your coworkers are not your friends, I'm not one of those people to be like, oh my God, they did me so wrong. They're my best friends or whatnot. I don't think about that. But what I do think is that I had genuine connections to other humans that were being experienced. And the second that there was some form of external force that was negative, it wasn't even me. It was an external source that had to kind of interact with us. It just disappeared. You know what I mean? It's like there was absolutely no trace of trying to at least say, sorry, I can't help you. Sorry, I don't want to get involved. Sorry, I don't know anything about that. There wasn't even the, wishing you the best. It was just dead silence. And what kills me is even the owner, which I wish I could make this shit the fuck up, right? For me, I got my first crystal, which is an amethyst from, I think it was EDC. No, it was Okeechobee Music Festival. And I got gifted that from somebody I connected to pretty well. And I went to Midnight Sun, I'm pretty sure, to buy my first crystal. It was either that or Earth Gifts. But either way, when I was getting into spirituality, Midnight Sun was that first door for me. So for me, when I say like, I think it was like literally a week before I ended up getting fired from Midnight Sun, or it was like a week or two prior, I ended up having a one-on-one with the owner, because she comes in every now and again from when she's, I guess, not traveling and wherever she is. And I let her know, like, I really appreciate being able to work here because of the fact that it's like a full circle moment for me. I started my spiritual journey almost in Midnight Sun at the very beginning, and here I am now being able to work outside of it. And I feel nothing but grateful for the fact that I'm able to work in the space. And I literally thanked her for, being able to have this. And it wasn't me trying to kiss ass or anything. If I don't believe in a compliment, or if I don't actually feel a compliment, I'm just not going to say it. Like, I'm not somebody who brown noses. I might be kind, and some people might think that my kindness is kissing ass, but it's never ever that. It's only ever if I give a compliment or if I say something, then it's because I genuinely feel or think what I'm saying, or else I would just not say it. I just feel like it's just so much easier just to not be inauthentic, or just not to say anything versus just be bullshitting. So to then even have, as I asked this manager or the owner to at least, hear my perspective out, or to at least like respond, or to at least kind of like let me know like what's happening, because of the fact that this happened so suddenly. Again, this is how I'm paying for my food, my gas, my car, my everything, right? This is my main source of income, and I lost this at the drop of a dime because of somebody's shitty, if I'm going to be completely honest, I can't even tell you what it is, because I don't know. I'm going to assume that because they were going through whatever they were going through and they're stressed or whatever else, they just, I don't know. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, the only thing that I could ever say is it was out of no actual action of my own. There's nothing that I did that would have warranted this response. And that's something that I even texted Catherine too. I'm like, I don't know what I did to you to deserve this kind of treatment and for my stay at Midnight Sun to end like this. And it's really, and I said, I didn't even curse her or nothing. I said, it's really disappointing for this to be how my stay left. I said it just like that, or I texted her just like that. And of course, no response. So it kind of is what it is. I'm truly grateful for the time that I spent there and the interactions that I had, because it came to me at a time where I really needed to be able to apply all of the experiences that I had on my solo endeavors to kind of to kind of test the waters. I just started being able to get into tarot reading and starting to do it for other people. So then being able to work at Midnight Sun was a great way for me to strengthen that skill as well as get better at what I was doing. And being in an environment like that also allowed me to have a lot of interactions as far as like having lots of synchronicities, being able to literally try manifesting things with my coworkers, being able to connect to people and talk about different spiritual experiences or just, our own perspectives, and being able to kind of deepen my own or further my own journey through what that connection was. So I genuinely did appreciate the time that I spent at Midnight Sun. It's just really unfortunate that that would be how that time was taken from me. And that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like it was almost stolen from me because it was something that almost felt like, when I say like I've never had a position or a job or a time where I actually felt like very connected, very like I'm actually doing something that I'm meant to do, that I'm actually feeling like I'm in alignment, that I'm leaving almost every single day feeling like I have a deeper perspective and a great appreciation, and literally just leaving my job and going into my job grateful for the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing and just happy to do what I do. Like I've never had that experience before, much less to then have something just take that from me. And it was a little traumatizing to say the least, because again, this is how I paid my bills. So to like lose that out of nowhere, it was, I don't think that everybody deserves forgiveness, because people will do some heinous things and they won't care. Because even as things were unfolding, I tried my best to still be very removed and be very detached and be very respectful and try to resolve whatever issues. And every attempt that I had fell on simply deaf ears. So there's a couple things. I think that people, unfortunately, when they have, well, I think some people are just fucking shitty. So, there's that. And I think to the managers who didn't respond, I think, and I understand their perspective, because Catherine and Stella especially was like a bull in a china shop, and she was getting everybody out that bitch. So I can understand being afraid to then interact with me in some way, and then being afraid that your job might be at jeopardy. So while it did kind of hurt not being able to get that response from my coworkers or my the coworkers, because I mean they didn't really manage me, but while it did kind of suck not being able to get a response from some of those managers or coworkers, whatever you want to call it, I understood. And it kind of just is what it is on that front. Like, I can't necessarily hold it against them, because I'm pretty sure these same individuals, or maybe I don't know what they were told. I'm not sure if they were told that I did something incorrect and that's why I left, and that it was something that I was, doing that deserved to be, to have the response that it did. But it let me know that some people are just shitty. And some people are kind of, it's like, I wouldn't say they have any bad intentions, but when people have their own lives to worry about, they will just go ahead and just go on. Like, not everybody's going to stand up, use their voice, or feel empowered enough to kind of see where there's an injustice or where there is a wrong happening and feel as if they are empowered to stop that. And I don't expect anybody to. Like, the last thing I would even want is for somebody to lose their job and lose their source of stability over something like that. Like, that's not what I would even want somebody to do to begin with. But it kind of just is what it is. Like, at this point, I'm already working somewhere else. Time has at least shifted things a little bit, so I'm not in the same spot that I was. But I don't think I will ever really allow myself to give people the benefit of the doubt when they are treating me a certain way. And I've always been that kind of person to still, put my boundaries up and still kind of make sure that I'm advocating for myself, but still being very understanding, while doing such. But I think that privilege is something that I don't think anybody really gets from me at this point, especially when this is the result of that being the thing that happened. So, yeah, at this point, if I feel like I need to invoke divine justice and I need to do whatever else to even the field or to allow the universe to balance things out, then so be it. And I'm not going to feel bad for whatever comes your way. Karma's a fucking bitch. And at the very least, I'm grateful enough to know that I am able to stand in the knowing that you will get what you deserve, just as I will get what I deserve and all the things that I have worked towards, because it doesn't matter who you are, you can't take what's for me. And I promise you're going to regret even trying. And the best part is, I'm not going to have to do anything. I'm just going to go about my business, do what I have to do, and watch as your own shitty energy destroys your life. But I'm not going to go on to another part. I feel like this is like 5 parts that I didn't even expect to do to begin with. So, peace and blessings. I hope you guys have a great night. And thank you for listening to